Welcome to the Clutch Time Podcast with your host, Daniel Kreider and Ryan Vargas. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us today. This is Daniel Kreider with my co-host, Ryan Vargas, back in the mix, episode 2. Yes. We got plenty to talk about today. Going right into it. Ryan, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. Doing well, bro. How about you?
I'm doing well. I'm really excited about this episode today, man. I'm super stoked. We got a special guest today. You guys will just find out when we bring him on, but super exciting. I'm super stoked about this episode. And other than that, man, I say, let's do this.
Let's get into it.
So NCAA football starting out. We got a few upsets happening this week. We got NC State upsets Clemson 27-21 in 2 overtimes.
That is their second loss, by the way.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And this last week was kind of crazy in college football. Actually, Arkansas upset Texas A&M 20-10. I mean, most people would have never thought that anyway. At least I didn't.
Right.
And then we got Oklahoma State upsets Kansas State 31-20. So we had some upsets this week.
Yeah, that Clemson game, going back to that was insane. Like you said, 2 overtimes. And for me, dude, when I see teams like that, like who have kind of been on top the past few years and, you know, it's 2 losses. It's not like they had a losing season. They'll still probably end up doing just fine. But
right,
it just gives me a whole new respect and appreciation for teams like Alabama, who are able to get to the top and not just get to the top, dude, but stay at the top. You know, I mean, I feel like that's the challenge, and Clemson's going through that right now.
Yeah, for sure. There's no doubt. I mean, and, you know, recruiting is such a challenge in this day and age, especially. So it'll be interesting to see. You still have your big powerhouses that are maintaining right now. So we'll see how the season ends up there. And then we also have, we got the MLB that's heating up too.
Ooh,
this one I'm excited about. Number one, because my St. Louis Cardinals, yes, you heard that right, folks. The St. Louis Cardinals are pushing right now on a 16-game win streak, beating the Cubs Saturday and currently winning right now. I haven't checked, but I believe that one is a wrap as well. And man, that's exciting to see. But it's been cool to watch because, like, you got Paul DeJong and you got Bader and Tyler O'Neill, who, how could you forget that guy? He's been in fuego this last month at total. And so it's exciting to see. Of course, interesting thing was the Dodgers got beat by Arizona.
The Dodgers, the almighty Dodgers fell.
The almighty Dodgers. And against Kershaw, of course, he's coming off an injury list, but first pitch he threw to Marte was just a rocket into left field. Carson Kelly also homering against him. So he's having a rough outing, or he did have a rough outing. But hey, it's Kershaw, man. He'll be back. I don't doubt that at all. He has struggled in St. Louis. So if we see him in the first round, you know, there's a chance, but man, that's going to be really tough for the Cardinals to overcome that lineup, man. It's pretty wild.
So did you catch a lot of Cardinals games when you were back home?
I did. I was, I watched all the games, man, for the most part, unless we were busy with, the kids playing baseball and stuff. Sometimes I'd have to just check in, periodically. And, so I've been a fan since I was a kid. I had some family down in Missouri, and I think that's just what steered me that way. And it's crazy because the other side of the family is all Cub fans. So,
Makes it fun, though.
Yeah, we had some interesting family outings, to say the least anyway, but a lot of fun. It's a fun rival. I mean, you always have those few that take it a little far, but it's a huge rivalry in the Midwest, and it's so fun. It is so fun. the Atlanta Braves beat the Padres, who are now eliminated from the playoffs, which was interesting because they were pretty much they were getting after it for a while, and they just kind of just wasn't flowing together, man. And that's just sports. That just happens from time to time. So
Right.
Atlanta's still in the running. You got Tampa Bay and White Sox punch their ticket to October. Yankees beat the Red Sox. Dude, you want to talk about a heck of a game. So bases loaded. Giancarlo Stanton comes up and just blast a grand slam over the monster and cleared the seats on the monster and everything. I mean, that guy is just, he makes it look almost easy sometimes. And I'm like, dude, what in the world? Like effortless, and just hits bombs. So
That's such a fun rivalry. Red Sox, Yankees.
It is. There's not a whole lot like that. I mean, Cubs Cardinals are pretty doggone close. And it's about the same for the most part, but man, those are fun. Those rivalry games, there's nothing like them. And it's just a lot of fun to watch. Moving to the NFL, though, we got the Chiefs taking their second L, man. What's your thoughts on that?
Man, I don't know. I mean, shout out to Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Herbert had himself a day, 26 for 38 with 281 yards, 4 touchdowns on the road to outbattle Mahomes. It's crazy to see, though. You're right. I mean, they're 1-2, 1 win, 2 losses. And I mean, the question is, are they going to be able to bounce back? I mean, I think so. It is the Chiefs, but then again, it also is the NFL, and the margin for error isn't a lot. And so if that 2 losses turned into 4 losses, you're like, kind of pushing it to see if you make the playoffs, which is crazy.
Are we even going to make it at that point? Yeah. So we also have another crazy game. I'll tell you what, games are heating up, man. It's fun. Ravens stunned the Lions. Tucker's NFL record 66-yard field goal. It's
for Detroit.
Man, they just,
That's tough. That's tough. And the field goal actually hit the post, bounced straight up, and then bounced in. It was dramatic. All those Detroit Lions fans, you could just see
all the air just gets sucked out of the room. Like,
yeah. 66 yards, dude. That's crazy.
That is crazy. That's a heck of a punt, or a heck of a field goal, not a punt, but a heck of a kick is what I meant. Yeah, and it looks like, just kind of updating here, it looks like Dolphins are beating the Raiders right now. Of course, they're in the third. And then you got the Broncos 17-0 against the Jets in the third. The St. Louis Rams are actually taking it to the Bucks by a touchdown right now. So interesting. They're at halftime, and then the Vikings and Seahawks are a very close game at halftime at 21-17. So yeah, there's some exciting stuff happening in the NFL. There's no doubt.
And Arizona improves to 3-0 with the win over non-impressive Jacksonville Jaguars, but nonetheless a win.
Yeah.
The Browns 2-1.
Yeah, they got the
big
Bears
win today.
today, I think.
Yep.
They beat the Bears today. Yeah.
They did. The Bears, man, they look rough for sure.
Yeah, they're struggling. Them poor guys. Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions need a big hug. I think
they do.
Now. It's just
they do. You're right.
It's been a rough year. Then moving on to a little controversy going on in the NBA, and this one's going to strike some chords. But I feel like I should bring it up anyway. Is Andrew Wiggins was denied religious exemption from the vaccine and will be ineligible to play in the states that have mandated, including home games in California. And, my thought process on that is I'm just going to be blunt, and hopefully nobody gets offended by it. But if they do, it's just the way I feel at the moment. I think it's a bunch of crap. I feel like it's each individual's body. It's their individual choice. I tried to listen to both sides of the argument, and there has been nothing coming from the other side that to me justifies that this should even be an issue in the United States of America. But that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy that this is even a conversation being had, like here's a dude who just doesn't want to get a vaccine.
Right.
And the fact that could potentially keep him from playing. And I mean, it goes way beyond sports too. I mean, there's people losing their jobs right now.
Right.
You know,
Right.
what I mean, a lot of people losing their jobs that they've been with for years. And it's just, makes you wonder, like, what's going on, you know, because like you said, it's not a matter of being pro-vaccine or against vaccines. It's just a matter of believing that you should have the choice to decide for yourself.
Yeah.
And when we get away from that, that's when things kind of start getting a little scary. And, you know, I respect Wiggins a lot for standing strong and not caving, at least to this point. You know, it is his choice. And I don't know, how would that work then? So is it just certain states that are requiring it, not every NBA team?
It is correct. So there are some games that they're not mandating it. Mainly your California, New York stuff, as far as I know. I don't know. There could be others. Yeah, I just feel like this is silly in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. You know, everybody's entitled to their own, and I'm not going to beat you over the head with the bat if you disagree. I'm not one of those type of guys. I'm pretty reasonable, and I'll listen to everybody else's argument and their side of it as well. But as of right now, my personal opinion is this is a bunch of garbage and this should not be happening right now, but it is what it is. It's the beast that we've been handed per se.
Yeah. And lately there's been some pretty well-known people speaking up against it, which has been kind of cool to see. You know, especially because I feel like a lot of celebrities on this topic have kind of shied away from speaking their mind, you know,
Right.
and, you know, I get it to a certain point, but I saw someone with a shirt that said, think while it's still legal. I thought that was pretty cool because, man, like the idea of thinking for yourselves and having your own opinion, man, it's just slowly kind of trickling away. So it's something we definitely got to stay strong with.
Well, absolutely. And that could be a whole nother podcast episode in itself.
Yeah.
But we'll move on. It seems like Ben Simmons drama still continues to unfold. I haven't seen anything like, you know, story breaking or anything at this point, but he's standing firm. It sounds like he says, I'm not playing in Philly. So
Yeah. Well, they say I think training camp starts next week, and Philly's trying hard to sway him to at least come and try to work it out. It's funny. It sounds like an actual relationship. Let's work it out. Let's talk about it. But he seems pretty set on not wanting to play in Philly. And I think it would kind of be a ugly thing, even if he tried to play in Philly at this point with the fans and just with everything that's gone on. You know, there was small rumor, who knows how true it is, but the old Portland Trailblazers were kind of in the mix for Simmons, which, I mean, some people are for, some people aren't. It's a trade that would include CJ McCollum, but Philly's being really stingy with what they're trying to get for Simmons. And that's kind of, I think their mindset is, let's keep him at least to the trade deadline, try to build up his trade value a little bit, because last playoffs were not a good showing for him, you know? And so maybe that's kind of what they're trying to do. But yeah, that'll definitely be interesting. Do you think he'll be in Philly to start the season?
I don't know. That's a big task as a head coach, Doc Rivers. You know, I'm not saying he won't. I just, like you said, I think you got to look at the long-term damage that's already been done per se. There's some things that people will forgive you for. Philadelphia is kind of they're all for you, or if they're against you,
Right.
you know, you might as well pack up and just say, hey, I'm just done then, because it's not going to be pleasant. And if he goes somewhere else when he comes back to Philly, that's definitely not going to be pleasant.
Oh yeah.
This has
For
not
sure.
been a good relationship up to this point. But, you know, can Doc save it? I think if anybody can, Doc Rivers could. You know, but, you know, every individual is just that, an individual. So, you know, if he does say, hey, all right, you know, I guess I'll come play. I mean, I'm not going to knock him for that. You know, I know some people will. But, you know, futuristically, man, that's why you got to be so careful what you're putting out there, because it's, you know, things can change. And so, you know, you don't want to make too bold of statements to where you burn bridges that can't never be restored, you know,
Right.
per se. But
Right. That's a good point. That's definitely a good point.
so we'll see what happens. And Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch. All right, moving on to our next segment. We have our special guest, Dave Williams, in the house. He's coached at almost every level imaginable. Coached high school at National Powerhouse Peoria Manual. Also coached college and semi-pro league. And along with the elite EYBL team, Mac Irvin Fire. He works out with elite players, not only in Illinois, but from all over the country. Has players playing in the ACC, Big 10, Atlantic 10, SEC, plus numerous other conferences across the country at every level. Also a very dear friend of mine, an exceptional human being. I want to welcome everybody, Dave Williams. What's up, my man?
Doing good, Danny. How you doing?
Hey, man, I threw some funk on the intro. What do you think, man?
I like that. I like that. It's right up your alley.
Yeah. You know, a good point.
Yeah.
Hey, D, I'm just going to start it off right, man. Who you got winning the World Series this year? I know it's a baseball subject off of basketball, but who you got, man?
You know, it's all about who's playing good in September, heading into October.
Right.
I'd like to think, you know, I'm a diehard Cub fan, so you can forget about me saying the Cardinals.
Oh, man, I'm hurt. That's
I know.
Right.
But I think the Dodgers are going to be tough to beat in a 7-game series if they can throw Kershaw at you 3 times. You know, that's tough. Their pitching's good. But I think it'll be St. Louis and the Dodgers in the NL Championship.
Yeah, I could see that. And I'll tell you what, I'm not as scared of Kershaw because he's traditionally struggled against St. Louis. But I will say I'm a little more shaken by that guy by the name of Max Scherzer.
Yeah. No.
Who has got like a .50 ERA. That's scary stuff going into October. Let me tell you, that's crazy.
So who do you have winning it though, Dave?
I would take the Dodgers if I had to put any kind of money down right now.
I would say that's a good pick.
Stacked up. Well, let's jump right in, Dave. Good to see you, man. We enjoyed having you on. Was that last year? That's crazy. It's been about a year.
Yeah, last year, right during COVID, I believe it was.
Yeah, right when everything was starting off. But yeah, man, it's good to see you again. I'm excited to talk to you. There's plenty of ways to make an impact in people's lives and life in general, and just kind of curious to know your perspective as far as like, how do you define the word success and what does that word mean to you?
You know, the most people's success means having a large bank account, having a $2 million home, Land Rover in the driveway. You know, when I was younger, I used to think that way also. But as you get older, you get more mature, you realize that's really not what success is. You know, success is doing what you love to do every day, being good at it, you know, and helping others, most importantly. You know, I like to go see these kids play, you know, that I've helped out over the years. More importantly, I like to see them graduate, you know, and then their life be a lot easier than it was, you know, before they met me, you know. So I check in with them. All the freshmen that left, you know, this past school year, I check in with them, see how they're doing, see how it's going. I check with all of them. I stay on the phone quite a bit with a lot of them, especially the girls, you know, just checking in on them and see how they're doing. And if they need anything or if they're struggling with anything, they know they can call me and they can talk to me and keep it between us.
That's awesome, man. So many kids over there are just super blessed to have a person like you in their life, man. That's super cool.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and it's so much needed too. That's for sure. Dave, I got a question for you. If you could assemble any team, players past and present, who would you have, college and pros, starting 5, and then who's coming off the bench?
Ooh.
Well, we know the GOAT is going to be number 1, MJ.
For sure.
Then I'd probably have to go with Kareem, you know, at the center spot. KD, LeBron, Kobe.
Dude, I would never want to face that team.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
thanks.
Yeah. only bad part is only one ball, Danny. So
yeah, exactly.
And off the bench, I'd have probably Bird, Magic, Dr. J, and Olajuwon.
I like the Dr. J. He was one of my favorites to watch, man. That dude.
Yeah, very, very underrated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave, how do you think Bird would do in today's NBA?
Well, you look at Dokic. You know what I mean? Very similar.
Right.
Bird a little better passer. You know, a little more craftier. But I think Bird would be fine.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like there's just this weird stigma around Larry Bird that like people who didn't get to watch him play think he would just be too slow and unathletic to compete today. And I never really got to watch him play, but I've watched a lot of like his highlights and stuff. And I feel like he would do just fine.
Yeah, he was too slow to play back then too. You know what I mean? But you know, you watch some of those highlights, and I mean, his IQ is just so high.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, he was great at getting separation. He was great with ball fakes. He had great footwork, unselfish passer. You know, did whatever it did for that team to win, and that's why the Celtics were really good in those '80s.
Right. And so, Dave, you get the opportunity to be around a lot of basketball players and a lot of elite basketball players at that. And I'm curious to know, what do you think is the biggest difference that you see between today's basketball players and basketball players when you were growing up?
You know, I don't think kids play multiple sports enough. You know, when I grew up, I played baseball, I played basketball, I threw the football around. You know, I think that helps a lot. I mean, I think when you get away from your sport for a little bit, you get to do something else you enjoy, it helps. You know, I think sometimes kids get burnt out playing one sport, and it's basically year round for them. You know, and I noticed that it doesn't bother kids to lose that much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know when I lost, I was absolutely furious. You know, if you went up to Proctor Center or Carver Center and you lost, you're probably down 9 games before you got back on again. You know, and you knew that. You know, they lose now, it's no big deal. You know, your AE team loses at 3 o'clock, it's no big deal. We play again at 5. You lose again, we play again at 9. You know, losing doesn't bother them as much as it bothers me. You know, and I mean, to this day, I'm a horrible loser. I mean, without a doubt, if I lost to Uno, I'm pissed. You know what I mean? So, you know, I think, you know, kids, it doesn't bother them nearly as much. Losing does not.
Do you think that's because of how many games they play throughout the year? It's just kind of watered down for them?
Yeah, and you don't have those games on the playgrounds anymore. You know, I remember I drive around with shoes in my trunk, hoping to come across the game.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And a ball. I'm like, oh, here we go. You know, here we go. You know, playing on the playground makes you tough. You know, you get out there, you got the sun in your eyes, it's hot. You know, these kids got it made now to go play in an air-conditioned gym, 68 degrees with a slight breeze. And that's exactly how they want it. But, you know, it doesn't work like that in real life. You know, playing on that playground made you tough. And I walked from my house, which is on Fremont Street. I walked to the Harrison Homes. I walked to the Boys Club. I walked to Treewind Park. I walked back up, and we went all over playing basketball the whole day. That's all you did, you know. But, you know, again, these kids don't struggle like that. You know, we hardly knew anybody that had a car back then. You just walked or rode your bike. You know, everybody's got a car now. You know, you can get a ride anywhere. You know, so it's a lot more convenient for them. You know, and but I will say this: the elite ones are a little bit different. You know, and that's why they're elite. You know, they're willing to be pushed and, you know, and not coddled.
Yeah, for sure. And it's kind of sad because nowadays you could be driving down the block, D. And I remember when we were coming up that it would be hard. I mean, to get on a court. And if you did, you might have to wait 3 games. You know what I'm saying? Now it's like showing up on some of these outdoor courts. You're lucky to have 3, let alone 5 or 10, you know?
Right.
So it is a different beast nowadays. That's for sure. I got another recruiting question for you. What are some upcoming players you've noticed and are keeping an eye on right now?
I would say the Fears brothers out of St. Louis. They're really out of Joliet.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremiah and Jeremy. Jeremiah is the younger one. Jeremy's the older one. Jeremy goes to La Lumiere, Pretty good, solid guard. Played for Brad Beal this summer. Played 17U. Had a great summer. Really, really like him. And they've got a younger brother, Jeremiah, who will be a freshman. He will go to Joliet West. Great shooter. Now their dad, I don't know if you guys remember, their dad played for Bradley back in the days. And but both of those kids out of St. Louis, the Brad Beal program, I like them a lot. There's a kid out of Ohio, Jerry Easter, a guard out of Ohio. He's at 2025, a freshman class. Pretty solid. He's really good this summer. 6'4" guard. He can really athletic and score it. There's a Ty Price out of Kentucky, deep 3-point shooter. A lot of range on his shot. Can really get downhill. Then in the area here, we've got a kid out of Morton, Wes Gudeman, 6'5", lefty, really shoots it. He's a freshman. Then we got a couple other ones. Emmanuel, we got the Caden Lotta, a little lefty, another lefty guard, and then the Richardson kid also is Emmanuel, athletic, long, DJ Richardson's nephew.
Yeah, I've seen a little pieces on social media of both of those guys. Of course, Lotta, I've known him for since he was a little kid. So, yeah, he's a heck of a player.
And Dave, along the lines of recruiting, we have a lot of kids here who listen to our show who, have dreams of playing in college. And, with you and your experience and your network of people that you've been able to build relationships with, what are some things that recruiters look for specifically that, are kind of outside of the normal of, scoring points and, getting rebounds? Like, what are the things that maybe a lot of players don't think about?
There's a lot of places to go with this one, Ryan. I mean, it's body language. It's your circle. I've had college coaches call me about kids, and NBA guys call me, NBA execs call me. What do you know about a circle? The body language is a big thing. Guy comes off the floor, does he help his teammate up? Is he yelling at his teammates all the time? I tell guys, sometimes it's not really the message, it's how you, relay the message. If you turn the ball over twice in a row and I come down there and I jump down your throat, stop throwing the damn ball away, just give it to me. Or I can come down the floor and say to you, hey, you got 2 turnovers. Don't worry about it. Let's get it back right here. Let's get it back right here. Come on, let's go. That's 2 separate ways of handling it.
Right.
And I think the second way is where you get more out of the kid in the second approach.
Right.
As opposed to saying, you're trash, stop throwing the ball away, give it to me, and coaches are looking at that stuff, how you interact with your teammates, and all those things. But when they call me, the first thing they say is he a good student? Because if he doesn't qualify, it doesn't matter if he can jump over the backboard, Dave. You know what I mean? You got to qualify. You got to handle those grades early. Kids get in a hole those first 2 years, and it's almost impossible to bury yourself out of that hole then. As senior year, everyone's take academics serious. By then, you're buried. You got to handle that stuff early. Stay with those B's, C's, but don't ever get those D's and F's get in there because they just killed that GPA, and it makes it tougher on you.
Right. Danny, was it you who told me the story about the baseball recruiter?
Yes. How ever tell you that story, Dave?
No.
My man was coming. DJ was playing in a tournament, and he was down checking out this kid, and he knew it was kind of young and early. I think it was 14U, I think is what it was. And so he came down. Everybody's ranting and raving about this kid, and I'm leaving names out for multiple reasons, but yeah. So he shows up, and I'm talking to him for a minute, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm here to check out this kid over here." I was like, "Oh, cool." And he's like, all of a sudden, at the end of the game, the kid's mom goes over and grabs the dude's bag and carries it to the car. He said, "Well, that's all I need to see." And he just literally put a line through his name on his piece of paper and said, Nat, I don't even have time to deal with that. He's like, there's too much talent out there. I just can't deal with that. So it was interesting. Very interesting.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy because I mean that really didn't even have anything to do with baseball per se. It was more so character, possibly, I guess, is what he was kind of looking for there. So yeah, to all of our listeners out there, I mean, that's just good stuff to know. Like it goes way bigger than your production on the court or on the field. It's how do you treat people, you know, and we would always say something to our kids like exactly what you said, Dave. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, you know, and if you want to be a good leader, you got to learn how to talk to people and how to communicate with people without making them feel small. So no, that's good stuff, dude. How would you say that the game, I mean, basketball specifically has evolved?
You know, it's gotten a lot softer. You know, it's not nearly as physical as they used to let you play. You know, they call a little bit of everything now, you know, and it's turned into either a 3-pointers or dunks. The mid-range game is completely non-existent.
Right.
You know, and I do a lot of mid-range stuff in my workouts. You got to be able to have a mid-range game. You know, you can't rely on the 3 or the dunk. You know, you got to have you have to score at all 3 levels. You know, so I think it's a lot less physical and a lot of small ball. You know, you look at, I'll give you examples. Kofi Cockburn out of Illinois. If this was 20 years ago, he'd have been the #1 pick in the NBA draft last year. You know what I mean? Because that's back when we had centers. You know, you had Olajuwon, you had Mutombo, you had Ewing, Mourning, all those guys back to the basket centers. Well, now that we play small ball, your 5-man is basically a pick and pop guy. You know, so now you got to go out and guard him. You know, you got to get out of the lane. You got to go chase him out of that 3-point line. You got to be able to show him ball screens. You know, you got to be able to stop all that stuff now. So that's why everybody goes small now. And if you're 7 foot and you can knock down threes, you know, you can play in the league. I mean, no doubt.
Yeah, that's crazy. It has changed, but that's what makes the Greek Freak so tough is he can shoot it out there. So you overcommit or come out, he can also blow by you. And it's just tough to guard once he gets going downhill, man. He's tough. D, what's your top 10 college teams coming into this season, in your opinion?
Well, you know, let's not fool ourselves here. Gonzaga's #1.
Yeah.
I mean, they got the kid coming back, the big kid, Timmy, and then you've got Chet Holmgren, who I really like. He played with Adam on that USA team this summer. I think he might end up being the #1 pick in the draft next year. Got to get a little bit stronger, but every freshman in America has got to get stronger. You know, they returned that Nemard, that point guard.
Mm-hmm.
They got the Salas kid is like #14 in the country. They got him on board now. I think there'll be one. I think Kansas, you know, gets back to being Kansas again. You know, they got Remy Martin from Arizona State transferred in. He averaged like 20 points a game. And, you know, they always get good kids. I think UCLA will be back there again. They've got Cody Riley coming back, Tiger Campbell back on that team. Juzang is back.
Mm-hmm.
And they got a sleeper. I think Peyton Watson is going to be really good for UCLA this year. That's my sleeper. So you write that down. I think Peyton Watson is going to be really good. Villanova, of course, they get that point guard back from injury. They'll be good. Texas got Carr from Minnesota. And they got the kid out of St. Louis, Courtney Ramey, who I've always liked. And then they got 2 transfers. A kid from Utah that averaged 17 points a game and a UMass transfer who averaged 19 a game. So I think Texas is going to be really good. Kentucky will get back to being Kentucky again. You know, my buddy Chin's down there as an assistant coach, him in Antigua, and they'll get that thing turned around. They'll start getting players like it used to be. I think Duke will be really good as usual. You know, last year they struggled, you know, but I think they'll get back there. Michigan, Memphis will be good. Hardaway will do a good job down there. And number 10, I got Illinois. Shout out to my guy, DeMonte Williams. I think they'll be really good. Coburn coming back, a little exciting guard. Corbello. They got a lot of athletes in that front court. I think they're going to be really good. That Big 10 will be good this year. Purdue will be good. Michigan will be good. It'll be exciting to watch.
Yeah, that's cool, man. And it's cool seeing Gonzaga, like me and Danny were talking about. Man, they can only be at the top so many times before they finally get the job done. They've been knocking at the door for a while. But you look at a guy like Mark Few, man. I mean, the guy could go coach anywhere,
Yeah.
and he chooses to stay in Spokane, Washington. And you got to respect that. He's built something special there. And just kind of curious your opinion on it, because I feel like schools like Gonzaga's, um, they tend to get players who stick around for a few years, and versus schools like the Kentuckys and schools like that get a lot more one and dones or kids who dip out of there quick. And I can only imagine how hard it would be to build a program with kids who leave so soon. And I think Gonzaga's kind of shown the recipe of how to maintain success in the NCAA by getting those type of players who will stick around a little bit.
Yeah, they get well, I think this will be an exception. I think Chet Holmgren will be one and done. I mean, I do think Gonzaga will face their first one and done guy with him. I think he's if he stays healthy, I think he'll be gone. But you're right, they do a great job. Mark Few, I've heard nothing but good things about him. My buddy Roger Powell coaches at Gonzaga with him, and Roger can't say enough good things about him. Roger, like, he's a great dude, fun to be around, great with the kids, great off the court, great teacher on the court. I heard nothing but good things about Mark Few. So I think they do a great job of not getting those top tier, maybe the top 20 kids in the country,
Right.
but they're great at getting like 30 through 70, and with the Holmgren being an exception, like he's the number one player in the country, of course, this year, they got him. But
Right.
a majority of the time, they do a good job of getting those guys, and it's a nice place to be out there. I heard it's really pretty out there, great school, and he does a good job with that program.
Yeah, no, they love their team for sure. I was up in Spokane for a while for work, and we were trying to get tickets to a basketball game, and we thought you could just, order tickets to a basketball game, and that is not the case. Like, dude, you're on like a 3-year waiting list to go to a Gonzaga game up there. So yeah, they've created a pretty cool culture, man. Over the years, Dave, I'm sure there's a lot of players who you've given guidance and advice to, but what would you say is the best piece of advice that you've ever been given?
Just to be a good person. You know what I mean? My mom was a great person. She gave her shirt off the back to a stranger. I try to emulate that a little bit with the kids. I'm a little rough around the edges, but at the end of the day, you do that to kids if they know you care about them. You can't go out there and be MFing kids all day long and don't have a relationship with them. Mm-hmm. Once kids know that you care about them, you can pretty much do whatever you want. You can. I've done it for years, but they got to know that you care about them. You got to be a good person. You got to be humble. It's just all about giving back, and again, we talked about success earlier. I think this is a fine example, giving back, being a great person doesn't cost anything,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it has such a powerful impact on the players and growth. And then, because a lot of times those players will then emulate that same thing. Most coaches would hope, you know what I mean, that then they'll get an opportunity and see that opportunity to, how do I invest? How do I show people how to be good people? Like you said, and genuinely care. I mean, I'm a screamer and yeller too, but at the end of the day, the kids know that they know that I love and care about them. You know what I'm saying? I'm primarily trying to get the best them I can get, and then teach them how that's done, and what that looks like. So then they'll pay it forward to somebody else,
Right.
That's a successful formula to me. I think that's awesome. D, what's some college players on your radar this year?
Well, I'd say probably Drew Timme. Out of Gonzaga, this will be a weird year. A lot of good bigs this year.
Yeah.
You got him, you got Coburn in Illinois, you got the Dickinson kid from Michigan who returned. You got Holmgren out of Gonzaga, another big. I like Trace Jackson Davis out of Indiana. a lot. Imani Bates at Memphis will be really good for this year. I like the kid at Purdue, Jaden Ivey. He played on that USA team also. I like him a lot. He plays hard. Corbello, of course, at Illinois, the magician with that ball. I mean, boy, he was good last year. I like Marcus Carr at Texas, a transfer from Minnesota, averaging 19 points a game for Minnesota. Him at Texas, I like that a lot. And then, I like the Adam Miller kid. I don't know if you heard of him. Out of LSU. I had a buddy call me the other day, a college coach, and he went to LSU's practice. And he texted me, I just seen your guy, Adam Miller. He says, he might not have missed 15 shots in the 2 hours I was there. Said he looks really good. He's back down 180 pounds again, not 199, moving good, back to being athletic again, back to being Adam Miller again, and I really think he's going to have a great year, especially with how they're going to play at LSU, to be a force in the SEC.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. That was one thing. I've seen some workout videos as well, just that he's posted on social media and stuff. And that's the same thing I thought. I thought, wow, gosh, he looks like Adam that I know, what I mean?
Exactly.
And just smooth. He's a lot more smooth with it. And just, you can just tell. And he's on a mission too. Good for him. He's worked hard for it. So I'm excited to see him play this year. Dave, tell us one of your favorite coaching moments.
Oh boy.
I know you got a lot of them, so I know I'm tapping into.
There is a lot, almost beating Chicago Simeon when they were number 1 in the country. We lost by 2 in the Pontiac Holiday Tournament. And of course they were loaded, Jabari Parker, pro, Kendrick Nunn, pro, Jalen Tate, Illinois, Steve, the big kid went to Marquette, Kendrick Pollard went to Dayton, and we're rolling out there with, guys, I said their name right now, you would know them. But I tell you what, our kids fight though, we played man to man the whole game. They were prepared. We guarded, we played well, and just came up 2 points short. But I'll probably say the biggest win is when I coached college and I got a chance to get, not many people get a chance to beat the number 1 team in the country. That's a very rare to happen. Well, so South Suburban is ranked number 1 in the country in junior college. And they come to Kewanee and play Blackhawk East. And we gave them that L. And that was a absolutely great feeling. Great feeling to beat that number 1 team in the country. It was tough. Those kids played well. We had a kid named Joe Williams out of Galesburg. He just shot the cover off of that game. And they were so much physical than we were. They were big. They were 6'9", 6'10". I mean, great guards. Had a guard that went to UNLV and scored a ton of points. I mean, they were really, really good. Great coaching. The guy, if you've never seen anybody coach in your life, you need to go watch South Suburban play one game.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy is absolutely the best. I mean, I'll pay to see him coach every night of the week. Phenomenal guy, great coach, but he coaches hard. And those guys respond, and that's why they're good every single year. His name's John Pagatti. Great guy, and he is tough on them. But beating them was probably the number 1 in my coaching career, probably the best thing that ever happened.
And were you guys a ranked team at that time or no?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We ended up finished 27-6 that year. We were ranked 11th at the end of the year in the country and got beat in a championship game by Triton, who ended up winning it all by 4 points to Triton to head to nationals that year.
Oh, that's tough.
Hey,
another great coach, Steve Christensen, who's at Northern Illinois University now. He's a D1 assistant now. But Triton's good every year, though. I mean, another program was good for a long time.
Yeah, I know if you say they're good, I know they're good. he don't give those type of regards out very easily. And
No, no,
I
I'm not.
I love him for it. But yeah,
Yeah.
Dave, I have a question for you. So there's a lot of, I feel like in the past, whatever, 5-10 years, I'm not too sure. I feel like there's a lot more basketball trainers. And maybe that's just something that I'm seeing. I don't know. I feel like you see more and more people making careers out of training. What's your take on a lot of these trainers who get creative with these drills and like 3-4 basketballs, a lot of tricky? Are you more, because I watched an interview with Kobe the other day and he was like all against it, right? It's nonsense. He said, you should do stuff that you're going to do in a game, period. You know,
Right.
and I've heard different takes, and I know you've been in the game. And what is your opinion on all that?
Yeah, I'm not big on the carnival stuff. Jumping through a hula hoop or you're shooting jump shots. And I'm just not big on that. If that
And
shit
you
don't happen
see
during the
that type of
game,
stuff.
then we're not doing it. I'm a big fan on playing off 2 feet though. We do a lot of stuff off 2 feet. But no, I'm not for all that. Now, I think ball handling is huge. I'm a big fan of the 2-ball dribbling. But as far as the other, everybody's got their own style. I'm never going to get online and knock somebody for what they're doing.
Sure.
But the real basketball people, they know that's like a circus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just we try to keep it really, really simple. Things we're going to use in a game, and it has to be done at either game speed or faster. We're not just going through the motions, because that's not realistic. When you're in a game and those bullets are flying, you got to be able to move. You got to be able to react, and you going through the motions nice and slow for your little pull up. That's not going to work. It's not. Everything has to be either at game speed or faster.
Right.
And every workout has to have contact. You got to be hit. Kids don't like to get hit anymore. They don't.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they don't screen. That's why no one gets open. You got to screen. You got to be willing to hit. Physicality is a big part of basketball. And if you're afraid to get hit, you might want to call the band guy. I don't know what else to tell you. Maybe there's a flute opening. I don't know.
So
hey, what could be?
What's an example of like a 2-foot drill?
We do a drill where on the right side of the floor, we dribble down the free throw line extended. We drive it with our left hand into the lane, land on 2 feet, right? Left hand pass to a shooter, and then we just close out on that shooter.
I got you.
Getting them used to playing off 2 feet, because
Gotcha.
a lot of times they want to leave their feet. I tell guys, don't ever leave your feet to make a pass. You got to stay down. We work on a lot of stuff, and I'm constantly. Danny's been in the workouts before. I am constantly correcting. We're going to get it figured out, and the kids pick it up.
Yeah.
But you're trying to delete a lot of years of bad habits. And that's tough to do. And they've been doing that their whole life. That's tough to break.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah, and you got a lot of people who believe, and like you said, I'm not knocking anybody's stuff, but for me, my thought process and the experience that I've had, it seems like I would rather you go hard and full speed, like you said, game speed or faster, and really work on that, as opposed to, four basketballs, catch 2, jump over a chair, do 3 cartwheels, and then shoot the basketball, and I think that's getting a more rock solid, foundationally sound with the fundamental part of it, but just at a game speed or faster,
Right.
like you said.
Right.
And I think, because we've talked about it, before, is that, it's some kids just don't work hard. And, some kids got this, fantasy in their mindset that, showing up is 95% of it. And showing up is a very small percentage of it. It's getting after it when you're there,
Right.
and then knowing how to go super hard without being out of control, and it's just like anything else. The more you work it out, the more you'll be ready. Then it comes the 3rd, 4th quarter. You've been there before, you don't have to sweat it.
Exactly. And that's the thing too, I'm a big fan on that. You got to come mentally prepared for workouts. Like, you're not just showing up like you're punching the clock trying to get your hour done. You know, you gotta bring energy. You gotta have purpose. You gotta have your mind right. You know, and then we're gonna work on getting better. If you come in and you ask me what time is it, you know, that's not a good sign. No. You know, and I'm not going to tell you what time it is. You know what I mean? On top of that, but no, you got to bring your own energy. You're in charge of that. You know, you're in charge of your own energy. You know, if you come in here, you know, trying to be Joe Cool, you know, I've sent people home before. I've had people come in, you know, too cool to go through the drills. I'm like, have a good day, man. Like, you're not wasting my time. Like, keep your money. Have a good day.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm here training guys that want to get better and girls that want to get better, and they understand that is not getting any better. You know, I never had a college coach call me and say that one of my kids wasn't prepared. Like, Dave, we got him up here, or we got her up here. She don't even know how to do this, or she doesn't know how to do that. You know, that's one thing I kind of hang my hat on. My kids, believe me, are prepared for that college life. You know, when they get there, they understand the expectations, what's going to happen. He's not going to tell you how sweet you are every day. You're going to have bad days. You're going to get MF'd. That's just college life. Welcome.
That's so good. That's so good. And I think that, I mean, that's a testament to the success you've seen doing what you do. You know, like I mean, I've never been over there, but just from talking to people that have worked out with you, talking to people that have been around you, you've created this culture that, I mean, the bar's up here, you know, and you don't bring the bar down to meet people down here. You got to bring them up, or they got to bring themselves up. You know what I mean? And I think that's super cool, because at the end of the day, that's what you're trying to do, is prepare them for where they're trying to go. And so, man, that's super cool, man. I respect that a ton.
Thank you.
Yeah, I've seen it for years and years, and I'll tell you, that's the other thing about, you know, other guys, and if you're one of them guys out there that are trying to send kids somewhere, you know, on another end of that, another spectrum of that is, don't send no coaches, no garbage, or I guarantee you they'll never listen to you ever again. You know, so that's something else to think about, you know. And it just, it holds a ton of weight on whatever you send them. You sent them mentally tough kids that are ready to fight and not easy to give up, you know. That's awesome. So, well, Dave, we appreciate you once again for coming on. It's always a pleasure, always fun. I always stay in touch with you anyway, and I'll continue to do so. And yeah, we just thank you for your time and coming on and sharing your delightful wisdom and knowledge with us, my man.
Hey, no problem. I appreciate you guys having me. I'm going to have to get out there to Utah sometime, and Oregon, and see what's going on out there.
I was going to say,
you guys are way out there. I mean, way out there.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
You know, I have to get out there and check you guys out, but good luck on your new facility, you know, and on the podcast. And I'll tweet it out and get some followers, and keep doing what you guys are doing. You're on the right road, you know.
We appreciate you, man. We thank you again for your time, and you have a blessed day. We appreciate it, man.
All right.
All right, Ryan. Man, what a great interview.
It's good having him back on, man.
It's always fun to have him on. He's a blessing. Thank you all for watching or listening. Make sure you share, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Show us some love. Send us messages. Whatever. We're good.
Just let us know you're out there.
Just let us know you're out there. God bless you. Love y'all. We'll see you next week.